Before my time at Arrowsmith, my difficulty with nonverbal thinking really showed itself in many different ways. Some of those being whenever I would enter a social situation, whether that be with a group of people or just a couple of people, if they weren't my close family or relatives, even if they were friends of mine, I always felt like I had to plan and prepare myself ahead of time. I didn't feel like I could trust my ability to react in the moment and behave appropriately, take in the information from whatever the other person was saying, and be able to respond in a timely manner and on the subject. So, social situations were extremely stressful because I was always doubting myself, and I felt like nobody could fully understand me because I wasn't able to let go and be present and live in the moment and be myself, because I felt like if I didn't prepare myself in some way, then I would not be able to have anything to say, or I would not be able to respond in a way that was accurate to how I thought, because I hadn't had enough time to process the question. And on top of that, especially when there was multiple people, party situations, especially in high school, those were completely out of the question for me. They were extremely overwhelming and scary because I felt like people didn't understand my way of thinking or my way of approaching topics or situations. And so I felt very alienated. It was really difficult to connect with people. So that kind of caused me to isolate myself and avoid social situations. I couldn't tell if people liked me or didn't like me, or whether they liked spending time with me. I felt like if someone had a serious expression or a neutral expression, it felt like they didn't like me or I was doing something wrong. I felt the need to be so engaging that they would smile and they would laugh, because that was like the only clear indication that they were enjoying that time with me, and similarly, I had a hard time with my own facial expressions. Because of that difficulty reading those expressions on other people, I was always doubting whether I had an appropriate expression on my face. I felt like I was more concerned with appearing to be listening than actually listening, and I I felt the need to confirm to people that I was interested and engaged. I would smile a lot. It was like I was wearing a mask all the time. I worked on the nonverbal thinking exercise for one school year from September until June, and I did it completely online. It was frustrating because I realized to what extent I had a difficulty in this area. Before that, I had assumed that I was getting by and that I was doing all right. I was always very afraid of making mistakes and thinking outside of the box. And so this exercise with nonverbal thinking was extremely difficult because right away it forced me to open up my mind and consider options that I would not normally consider. I'm so glad that I got through that first part because it was definitely worth it, but it was extremely challenging. I would say that I first started to notice changes in myself for sure a couple of months into the program. I felt so much more confident in myself, and there were subtle things too. I started to notice my own face a little bit more. I started taking in more aspects of a situation. I started to be able to read the big picture rather than focus in on one little thing and get caught on that. I was able to better interpret situations and consider, okay, maybe I'm wrong about this. I remember going to some Christmas events and Christmas parties and socializing with family friends, and my mom and my family and other friends, they they said it, they noticed a huge difference in me. I think because in the past I had been so shy and scared of being embarrassed and making mistakes, I would always stay back and I wouldn't be as involved in social interactions. So then I think maybe those people or friends and family, maybe they didn't notice so much the other difficulties I was having because it just seemed like I was shy. Everyone could tell that I was comfortable in my own skin and that I was taking risks and I was enjoying myself, sharing stories and having fun with talking to people and asking questions. And it started to feel like, okay, this is making a big difference and this is going to be worth it. And I felt more comfortable being myself and I felt like I could trust my brain and I could trust my ability to respond in the moment so that I didn't feel like I had to plan ahead or prepare myself. I felt like I was better able to express my true self and I didn't have to doubt myself so much. I was a lot less scared of showing some of my vulnerabilities and showing my true self. I was able to make friends more easily and trust that if I didn't connect with certain people, that it wasn't so much that something was wrong with me. It was just that maybe we were just different people and there are other people that were more other people that I could connect with better. And so of course that confidence and comfort in myself allowed me to meet new friends, but also interact with guys and date. It was also very rewarding. I felt like I had an easier time holding on to an idea once I had it and being able to explain a story fully through from beginning to end without too many distractions. And I felt like I was able to stay engaged in conversations and social attractions better. And so those were my main goals before entering Arrowsmith. And so I couldn't have been more happy with the result. If I was to meet someone with difficulties that I used to have, and if I met people or someone that I saw a little bit of myself in, I would definitely feel comfortable sharing my experience and my journey because ultimately it was life-changing for me and my life would not be the way it is now. If I am able to experience such a change and feel more confident in myself, then it's worth sharing that with other people. And I want other people to experience that and be comfortable with themselves. So I would definitely share my experience and I would definitely recommend Arrowsmith program. Change is possible. Just because you do struggle with something right now, it doesn't mean that you are stuck with that for the rest of your life.